So I wanted to just launch into this intro, but I feel like I should assure everyone first that there will be no Avengers Endgame spoilers here. It's going to seem like there is, but we're not. Good. There's none. Because I know that box office records show that the planet Earth went to go see this movie over the weekend, but I want to stress that there'll be no spoilers.
Okay.
So do you know what I'd do if I were Thanos circa the end of Infinity War, but not due to any perspective lent from subsequent films?
I can't wait to hear.
I'd make all the life in the universe, by which I mean all sentient life, because Thanos... Thanos! I can't believe we didn't make that joke. Doesn't specify. And Kevin Feige later said that he also wiped out half of all the flora and fauna, therefore not actually saving any resources in the process. But anyway, I'd make all sentient life.
Yeah.
And let's just say cows don't count. Any life that can give a sassy look to camera in the universe, I'd make it 10% of its current size. So if you're 6 foot, you're a little over 7 inches now. Okay. Yeah, exactly. First of all, tiny Avengers. Or Avengers babies, depending on what's tracks better. Secondly, you have resources all over the shop. You buy a carrot, that's your whole day. You want to come out, Johnny? No, I'm on the carrot.
It would also really remove any chance of them fighting back for any proposed sequel.
Would you need to? Well, we're just tiny now, it's great. Also, the vegans should be happy. Hey, you guys killed a cow for food. Yeah, 1 cow. It took 50 of us. We lost 10.
Yeah, I understand vegans, mate.
The cows are fine. They're a problem, actually. I think they're trying to figure out the cars that we can't fit into now.
They're trying to eat us. Are you happy, vegans?
Disadvantages of this plan? Somewhat awkward transitional period where no one has any clothes or houses that fit. But that's going to be a lot easier to get used to than half the people you know vanishing.
Oh, you know what, though? You know who's going to be the Johnny Come Sneakily about all this? Only Ant-Man with his suit.
Oh, he could be big anyway.
He could be normal size.
He could be giant size, which will be even more ridiculous to us now
than it already is. And then he will take on Thanos alone as a giant 6 foot man, as he did in Endgame.
Podcast that's licking dirt now. I'm Paul Salt.
I'm the same old Scamander.
I made a note of that line.
Same old Scamander.
Scamander.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculorum. Today, there is actually a spell that's almost exactly like that, but not like that, so I feel like we're going to get letters from everyone on the Potterverse.
Wow.
And a tweet from J.K. Rowling that'll just decimate us. Today we shall be auraing... That word?
Yeah.
Rowling will tell us. Warner Brothers, Wizarding Worlds, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Part 2, The Crimes of Grindelwald.
Verse.
The Wizarding and non-Wizarding worlds have been at peace for over a century. Grindelwald wants to see that peace destroyed.
You want me to hunt him down? To kill him? Dumbledore, why can't you go?
I cannot move against Grindelwald. It has to be you.
You don't suffer from motion sickness, do you?
I don't do well on boats.
You'll be fine.
Great, so excited.
Yeah, it's David Yates and J.K. Rowling's 2018 sequel to David Yates and J.K. Rowling's 2014 prequel to David Yates and J.K. Rowling's adaptation of J.K. Rowling's hit series of novels. No stagnation here.
Mm-hmm.
Not a hideous feedback loop at all.
Couldn't hear you, ears are bleeding.
I say David Yates, he directed half of them, therefore he's as much to blame of the original 8. The original trait.
Yeah, he took ownership after Alfonso Cuarón and went, hang on, let a master show you how to do it.
Hold my coat, Cuarón. Critics responded to the thing like a big dumb cat snake thing smashing through their Paris. Adam Graham at the Detroit News said the Fantastic Beasts films have as much to do with the Potter world as the current Detroit Pistons have to do with the champion-winning Bad Boys. I feel like Adam Graham may have been transferred from a different desk.
I mean, that is a very good way to get universal acclaim, isn't it? Is to make it so unrelatably local that not even you know what you're saying.
It has about as much to do with Harry Potter's Wizarding World as Terry's Corner Shop has to do with Jerry's Corner Shop. All right? Take that, Terry. Moira MacDonald, over at the Seattle Times, says while it's often great fun to look at, Crimes of Grindelwald fails at what should be Rowling's great strength, storytelling. 3 more to go, and an infusion of magic is desperately needed. 3 more to go.
Oh, God.
It's like a trilogy is left.
Of what?
Of this! Of Harry Potter's Wizarding World!
Of all this!
Da, 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 da. The film has 37% on Rotten Tomatoes and 52% on Metacritic, which is very complicated. I think it means most people didn't like it, but only marginally. Muggles, on the other hand, loved it.
Oh, I see what you did.
Thing. Because being a film critic is magic, and the closest thing to being a wizard in this world. I control public opinion, according to The Rock. It's
because he respects you.
They loved it. It's the 10th highest grossing film of last year, as previously discussed. So the world is magic. Alan Oten over at Amazon said, I thought the story was good. The characters were picked extremely well for this. Picked him out the bin really well and just plucked him in the story.
Which characters are we going to put into this to this one? Are we going to have this ninny over here? Or are we going to have this person who wears a hat? Oh, it's tough.
Should we have Darth Vader or creepy Johnny Depp guy? I think we know which character we're going to pick for this one.
And then he killed himself. Oh, no.
What
a lunatic.
Dark. I mainly purchased this to watch on my way to work each day, as I have a 2.5-hour journey each way. This maniac is watching this movie at least once, maybe twice a day.
Walking into the office. All right, John, how you doing? Amazing, mate.
Can't wait for the commute home.
Alfie, if you're listening at home, by the way, this is another family-friendly episode.
Surprise!
Hi, all families and friends and grands. But Alfie, if you're listening to this, don't be like John. Don't let the Crimes of Grindelwald
define
dictate. Yeah, define you or dictate anything you do. You're better than that.
They will define Grindelwald, but they won't define us. Speaking of things defining you, it's weirdly similar to my next joke. Ms. Spinster.
Oh.
Don't let your marital status define you.
Yeah, come on.
Own that spinster life.
Come on. Absolutely. Come on. You idiot.
Also running for Amazon. Said, setting the scene of what is to come. Full stop. Okay. That was a surprise to me.
Did she mean this?
I like it.
Was she describing that sentence?
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, that sentence. You know what? It's uncomplicated language. I appreciate it. Let's try again. Setting the scene of what is to come. Some twists are a bit of a shocker, but this story is yet to be told, and the twists will be explained. This is like a limerick.
Is it time? Is it fire? An umbrella?
Tapping your nose. As always, loving the Nifflers, and I echo Rob Weasley. I hadn't noticed that, sorry. I echo Robert Weasley.
I'm with Rob.
I'm with Robert on this one.
Robert Weasley.
I'm Robert Weasley. I echo Rob Weasley in saying, I wish I had a Niffler. So Paul, you Niffler.
My mother.
Why do strange creatures love you so much?
Oh, it is because every time I heard of the Newt Strange Creature, I was reminded of Zoot of Castle Anthrax fame. And I always think that unintentional reminders of Monty Python in serious films usually bode really well.
Well, that sounds like a good way of getting strange creatures to love you. What happens in Fantastic Beasts? And where to find them? Part 2, The Crimes of Grindelwald.
Of 5. Well, Paul. Picking up exactly where we left off, kind of, from the first one, I'm sure we'll remember very well.
Oh, yes, no need to recap that at all.
Johnny Grindelwald is knee-deep in prison, and that was good.
That was very good.
Alfie, you can have that one. You can tell your dad. It was also my dad. Johnny Depp's in prison. He's Grindelwald, and he's a bad man.
Yeah, he wants wizards to rule the whole world. All of it.
He would, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's very convenient you should think that. Would you think that if you weren't a wizard? Yeah. I think you need to do some reflection, mate.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have somebody who's willing to pause to reflect, though, is the problem. And you know what Johnny Depp's like.
I know exactly what Johnny Depp's like.
He's under strict surveillance from the Ministry of Magic, and they are transporting him for some reason.
Yes.
To take him to Azkaban, I assume.
But
I wasn't really paying attention.
He, I think, has done a bit of a face-off.
What?
Because he's changed places with John Travolta, and now he's going to commit some of the crimes of Grindelwald.
Oh, no.
Some more crimes of Grindelwald.
Oh, that's why they keep referring to it in the movie. They're like,
oh, there's been another crime of
many
Grindelwald.
Crimes of Grindelwald. Add that to the list. So they're moving him to Azkaban, but in doing so, they didn't realise that he had switched places with one of the guards, and Johnny Depp as the guard was being very sneaky, doing very discreet, subtle things like jumping onto the back of the wagon as it flies into the air and hanging underneath it as it leaves the British Ministry of Magic.
Why didn't he just leave at this stage? You've slipped the tight knot of imprisonment. Why not just leave now?
Well, Paul, I think you'll find that's it. He was so evil that he had to kill 5 Ministry of Magic people just to hold his little pet in his hands and go, oh, so needy, and then throw it out the window. Who hurts one small animal? You know, you can't count the number of times that I've gone into a room and murdered all of my peers on 7 hands. That's how many times I've done it. But would I hurt one small animal?
Nah.
Never. And that's what separates me and
the Johnny Depps of the world.
Yeah.
That is easily one of the most heinous crimes of Grindelwald. Remember the beginning of The Dark Knight Rises?
No.
It's that, but worse.
It is absolutely that. And even worse than that, he says, now we must go and meet the rest of the people in this film. No!
First one is Newt Scamander. That's not his name. Scamander?
Scamander.
Salamander. Sandwich. Newt Sandwich.
Yep.
And he is pulled in front of, oh God, this is going to be awful, his brother and his brother's wife, Letty. Yeah. Lottie? Luther.
Zoe Kravitz.
Zoe Kravitz. Really good actress. Should be elsewhere, Zoe Kravitz. She is married to the brother, but obviously in love with Newt.
Who isn't?
And, he is banned from traveling, which means that he immediately travels with no consequence whatsoever. And that's it.
They use magic, and they said, "Oh, we didn't expect you to use magic to flout your no travelling rules." So they say, "Look, if you want to travel, then you need to work for the Ministry because Grindelwald has escaped, and everything's getting a bit serious, and you need to help us with this and find Credence." Or is that just what Dumbledore wants him to do?
You've got to find all the bits of the Grindelwald. Yes, Grindelwald wants Credence from the last film, who's Ezra Miller. He exploded, but not fully.
He's a bit of an explosion, but he's fine.
Part of him exploded, very much like the plane from Planes. And luckily he had a sassy sidekick. He actually does have a sassy sidekick, only it's not a pickup truck in this one. It's Nagini, the snake woman. We cut to Paris, France, and I'm delighted that they had to specify that in the subtitle.
American audience, Chinese audience.
Well, the English version shouldn't have had it. It should have had the Philosopher's Stone.
There's only like 7 people in England, so they can't make a special film just for us.
Never say that to Ben Wheatley. At this point, Johnny Depp arrives at a house. Kills the occupants, and then has this elaborate way of getting the bodies out, involving like a horse-drawn carriage and coffins that he brought with him. Isn't it like a spell to just make bodies go away?
Well, you'd think that, but yes.
Well, it's time for another bloody crime of Grindelwald, because he finds another room, and there's a little baby in it, and he's like, oh no, go find a tiny horse-drawn carriage.
Otherwise, they won't believe us.
Get a boy-sized one.
Anyone? Never mind. I'll just look at my henchman. Who's the one that's smiling the most villainously about the prospect of murdering this child? Oh, it's you. I'll leave you to it. Gosh, they're so evil, Paul.
Such a great character.
They're so evil and nuanced. This is great. I love this.
That one was Cornelius Glaive.
Great. Marvellous. I'm so pleased.
Marvellous.
Anyway.
Do you get it, fans? Fan?
Alfie, don't be like me.
The love of God.
Who's next that we're going to meet now? Oh gosh, Jacob turns up with Queenie, or rather Queenie turns up with Jacob because something's amiss. Jacob is so happy, even after being obliviated and not remembering any of it. They're getting married. They're getting married finally, even though the Wizarding World won't allow it or something.
Yeah.
It quickly becomes apparent that Jacob has been charmed by the charmless Queenie. In spite of everything that we've seen, Newt is very noble in saying that he must be uncharmed.
Yes, uncharm that man.
And he blinks a couple of times and goes, oh, where was I? I was charmed by something. Not now, though. Not here on set of Crimes of Grindelwald.
You charmed me into wanting to marry you? That's outrageous. That really threatens me wanting to marry you, which I did anyway.
Yeah. That's the point. I wanted to marry you anyway. Why did you charm me?
Complaining a lot.
Twist, she says, tapping her nose. What? Oh, you'll see.
We missed out Dumbledore, by the way, because after Newt leaves the Ministry of Magic, he meets up with Jude Law. Dumbo Law.
I hate this. Alfie, don't be like this.
The elephant, the rules pertaining to elephants in Tim Burton movies.
There's a story in my family that a phoenix will come to any Dumbledore in desperate need. They say my great-grandfather had one, and that it took flight when he died.
Newt salamander sandwich, Swalla Halla Bing Bang.
This is great.
Says to him, so here's an explanation of how you pertain to the last film that you weren't in. Oh, great, thanks, Newt. Can you explain to me how I pertain to this film? No.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I'm Dumbledore, so I assume that I've just got to manipulate the people I love and send them off into dangerous things because I may or may not love them.
Because that's how I do
depending
things.
on what film or stage show you've seen.
That's literally your solution to everything, is recruit a child soldier to do your fighting for you.
And now off I go.
You see him running into the distance. Terrible. He's
a wonderful man. So noble. So they got Jacob and Newt go to Paris. Newt is also on the lookout for Tina from the last film, you might remember, who now hates him because she saw in the paper a misprint that Newt is getting married to Zoe Kravitz, as we all want to do. But Newt is so shy and bumbling that he just can't say this one sentence that would clear this up for the rest of the film.
Well, that's a good bit of dramatic tension there. That's characters bouncing off each other, you see. Not necessarily disagreeing over some sort of belief or difference in character, but a minor misunderstanding. Brilliant. It's like Batman versus Superman.
So they do that, and they go off looking for Credence and the guy who's following Credence and Tina, and they go off looking for Grindelwald, and they look for... Dumbledore was looking for Newt to look for them. Tina's looking for him. Can we just go on to the next scene, he says. And then they say... I can't even think of a scene end pun. Exiunto! Avada Kedavra is the audience, and then we move on to the next scene.
Well, Grindelwald, we should point out, is looking for Credence.
Yeah.
Because, do you know who's the greatest threat to us and our plans? Or is it the guy who's physically incapable of moving against you? Yeah. Okay. Oh, Credence, he's the only person who can kill Dumbledore because he's Bellatrix Lestrange's uncle. And it's like, okay. I mean, Snape did it. Spoiler alert. Was he a Lestrange or something? I don't. What's going on? No, but Dumbledore wanted to get killed that time. I bet.
Look. Says J.K. Look, other scriptwriter. If we just say it in this film, we've got years to figure out why he's the only person who can kill Dumbledore. It's fine, right?
And why Snape killed Dumbledore. It's fine. As a writer, I'm like a gardener. I like to cultivate. I don't plan everything.
You know, I don't like to plan things like why this character is important or why he should be in the book at all. I just like to roll with
why
it.
People should like this film.
So, yeah, with all of this established, the pieces of the chessboard start to shake until they fall over and get brushed off the table by an angry child.
They do.
And
there is a scene where a weird snake... There is actually one.
I don't believe it.
Where a weird snake dragon thing breaks out and Newt has to try and calm it because ostensibly this is a Fantastic Beasts film.
Yeah.
It's in the title.
And I mean, there's literally no other way of conveying the nobility and bravery of Newt Scalamandero. So yeah, we've got to have another thing in here that's weightless and there's nothing to relate to. and he does. He captures the Chinese dragon lion thing, and that's wonderful. Yeah. But now there's some other beasts running around, and Credence and Nagini have gone. Oh, so more looking. So they follow a guy who has been pursuing Credence. I think he knows where Tina is. So they follow him to that location. And that's a trap. They follow him to Tina. To that one. And that's a trap. They're locked in, and oh no, how are they going to get free? He had no choice. Oh, he's passed out.
Well, at least we got a chance for our two main characters to reunite.
Tina.
That's that done.
That was fantastic. Newt was bummed. Oh, he didn't even get to tell her the thing. Didn't even get to tell her the very simple truth.
Oh, not yet. Well, look.
Wait till we're in the library where everyone can hear us.
Okay, look, this isn't working, any of this. Cut to Hogwarts!
Yep, not Mark Rylance shows up, as you pointed out.
Shiny
which will
Mark
now forever
Rylance.
be in my nightmares.
It's so horrible. He's nearly Mark Rylance, but he just refuses to be.
I know, and he's that bitter that he comes in and sees the only real heartwarming and entertaining scene in the entire movie play out and says, I'm not having any of this. Dumbledore, you...
Dumbledore. Look,
pansy.
He's more strained than that. He's like a Billy Connolly who's been out running.
Dumbledore. Got a very pursed countenance.
That's a very good description of Mark Rylance. Pursed as hell.
Very pursed.
Very pursed.
I'm the head of magical law enforcement. I have the right to go wherever I please.
So, yeah, Dumbledore is not going to make a move against Grindelwald. And
he can't, Paul,
he's also
because of the promises and the relationship oh no, he's got a necklace.
Which is actually representative of... Sorry, I haven't got Twitter open right now, so I'll have to check up on that later.
We'll check.
So the Ministry of Magic put a little thing on him so they know whatever spell he casts, because also, he's not revealing where Newt has gone or what the two of them might be cooking up in their little cauldron. That was a wizarding joke. It's good. McGonagall's in there, unbelievably, perhaps. Yeah,
well, somewhat, it's ostensibly, inauspicious.
Impossibly? She's impossibly there.
Well, it's possible, but just...
Well, not being born for 8 years does get in the way of...
Well, really? Is that a thing? Because I heard that Voldemort's meant to be a year old. Is that really a thing? I feel like that would kick up way more of a fuss.
Well, I read into it after Ellen mentioned it on Instagram, when she talks about how long she'd been teaching at Hogwarts and then a student there. Like, it wouldn't have been possible for her to be an adult teaching in Hogwarts in 1927.
Well, maybe it wasn't. Well, maybe it's an older McGonagall or something, because she's barely introduced. She's hardly introduced as if she were a main character in the subsequent films.
Apparently, the script says young Minerva McGonagall comes in.
You've done a very thorough amount of research on this one. Uncharacteristic of you.
She's there, and whatever we want to do with that is wonderful. I'm glad that they've given Scottish women representation in this movie. So
it's so few. Jessie Buckley coming up and stealing all the roles. Literally, she came up and stole all of our roles. Dreadful day for Greggs.
No butter though. She just gnaws on them until her teeth are sharp. So, Hogwarts is under the Ministry cosh at this stage. Dumbledore can't do a blummin' thing. You might want to cover your ears on that one, Alfie. That got a bit dark. But
go back and cover your ears. Rewind. Yeah. Grindelwald is issuing a very subtle summoning for his followers to come and meet him at the agreed place. Only the people who know about the signal will know what this means.
Is that the flying through the air in an enormous phantasmic black mist?
It's the giant curtains that close on all of the buildings in Paris.
It's very secret.
So secret that a character who has no means of knowing that that's what this is immediately guesses correctly that this is what that is.
This is about an hour and 45 minutes into the film at this stage. You're just in between the things that we've talked about. There's just so much walking and talking about the prophecy.
Oh, Queenie changed sides, by the way.
They all converge on this area, and Credence and Nagini go to the tomb.
Yeah. Sorry, just after, there's one other scene, which is that the two leads of the film, whose names I've temporarily forgotten, Newt and Tina, they sneak into the Ministry of Magic.
Yes.
Cleverly disguised in the clothes that Eddie Redmayne wears every day.
And using polyjuice that wears off in 3 seconds.
Exactly 3 seconds. But hey, remember that?
Yeah. They go up to the desk and say, "Hi, I'm Bellatrix Lestrange," or whatever the other one is, Letta Lestrange, and I'm... whatever, I don't know.
I'm my brother. I'm my brother.
I haven't even disguised. There's nothing. We've got nothing. But let us in. You're French. You're obviously ridiculous.
I'm you. Oh, okay. You better.
Mon Dieu, she says. In you go. And 3 seconds later, she goes, "Hang on a minute. That's not me or literally anyone else. That's obviously Newt Scamander."
I recognised him by his face and voice.
Damn, not again. So they go after him. Newt and Tina finally choose the silent library in a place that they really shouldn't be by law to clear the air. And Newt, after 17 minutes of charming bumble.
Sorry, what I'm trying to say is, I want you to be happy, but I don't want you to be happy that I'm happy, because I'm not happy. Or engaged. What? There was a mistake in a stupid magazine. My brother's marrying Lita June the 6th. I'm supposed to be best man, which is sort of mildly hilarious.
Oh.
The Crimes of Grindelwald. Anyway, so, yeah, after that, they all do just go to the cemetery. And it's time for a cinematic, climactic explain-off.
And boy, is there one, because Zoe Kravitz finally admits that she killed her brother, so Ezra Miller couldn't possibly be him.
Yeah. Then it's time for a grubbly plank, expository. Yeah, a Jigglypuff speech about all the wrongs of man and about how wizards should really take over, because it's going to be another war, like the last one that we did nothing about. Oh, no.
Come on, everyone. They're the real criminals here.
We need to control the can't spells.
It is said that I hate les noms magiques. The Magoo. The No-Mage. The can't spell.
Can't spells. You've made that one up.
The Nerdy spells. The bad mages. The abracadabras.
The wand knots. Look, in this world, there are wands and there are wand knots.
Very good. There's a nice bit of populism.
Oh, there is, yeah. After which he takes a drag from a skull bong and then breathes out of it, sicks up a vision of the future. What's his name? The guy who's with Queenie?
Jacob.
Jacob! He says something like, oh no, not another war. I mean, Grindelwald could be lying. Grubbly Dump.
He could be lying.
He could easily be lying. We, the audience, know he's not, but, I mean, he's obviously a villain, so...
Well, I mean, he is a very, very talented chap, and this is possibly why he was able to convince Queenie, who is whatever the magic word for telepath is. She should probably have been able to feel the hatred literally oozing out of every other person in that room, but it's magic. But yeah, there's going to be another war. They've got to protect themselves against the destructive muggles. They're the real villains here. The auras come in, and it's important because it's probably the most sophisticated thing that happens in the entire movie. The auras come in, and Johnny Depp says, there are auras here, don't panic. But you will see that they are the evil ones here, and then as the authors are the real villains here. When they come in, they have instructions from Theseus, who's Newt's...
Oh, there's no time to introduce him at this stage. Let's just...
his
hard
brother.
Head guy.
He says don't act. Don't do anything that's going to make them hate you.
Yeah.
As they go down, one of Grindelwald's clan attacks one of them, and they defend themselves with Avada Kedavra.
Nobody, does anyone say spells out loud anymore? I remember it happening once.
It only happens sometimes. He could have done an Expelliarmus. He's the real villain here.
Maybe their ability to control the Force weakens, and so they have to start saying them out loud.
Maybe. The crux of the matter is that...
The Horcrux of the matter.
Fantastic. We are firing on all cylinders here. This is
as good as it gets, everyone.
Guys, we've made it.
Believe it or not, this is top form.
So Grindelwald says, go and spread the word that the authors are the real villains here. And they go, that's very good. And they go off. And then they fight, showing that Grindelwald is in fact the real villain here.
Oh, good.
Newt and Theseus, they fight off Grindelwald's magic together. It's brotherly, it's very good. Zoe Kravitz sacrifices herself. She goes to fight Grindelwald, and he just smushes her.
She's going...
Best wizard in the world.
She's going to a better place. Marvel. Anyway.
Nicholas Flamel. He was in the movie earlier.
I don't know who that is, and I don't want to know. Anyway,
Nicolas Flamel, the immortal.
That wasn't a cue for an explanation.
No, it is. He's a big part of Potter lore, Paul. Don't do a disservice to the fans, Paul. That's why they're here. For us to...
I feel like there's a gun lying around somewhere.
Well, you first. No, he shows up and he is the one is able to defend the rest of them from Grindelwald. It's quite important. But
it's important as much as he was about to leave and then thought, actually, I'm going to turn into a massive... No, actually, I will leave. No, you've got a scary white guy. I'll go. I'm taking Queenie.
And Queenie goes, he speaks a lot of sense. And Jacob goes, does he? Yeah.
Don't you realise you'll be happier when wizards rule your world?
Do you know what? Let's just... You go.
I really feel like he is the face of the tolerance that we're in search of.
Look, I met a girl, Beth. She works at the greengrocers back in Brooklyn. She's really nice. I'm going to go and do that. And that's it. It's all over. And for what? There's no hope now or something.
Oh, no.
But wait, one of Newt's really irritating characters that I didn't care about at all, I suddenly care about because he stole a thing from Grindelwald because it was shiny from Grindelwald.
He very discreetly and subtly shoved his way through his boots in order to get it.
Yeah, the enormous loud platypus thing. But he steals it, and that's great. And it turns out that the reason Dumbledore can't move against Grindelwald is because it's a blood pact that they made when they were young.
Oh, no.
Can you break it? I don't know, says Jude Law.
Let's find out in movie 4 of 5.
Oh.
I mean, at this stage, we cut back to a castle in Germany where Credence is there and is revealed to be Dumbledore's brother?
Brother?
I think so.
Gran.
It's a very complicated family tree. Oh, he starts this scene off by asking Queenie, is he still frightened of me? I mean, have you looked in a mirror? If you could maybe just do something about your terrifying face, I feel like it would improve things.
I for a start. You for a start, he says, and then they laugh and high five, and then it's freeze frame and credits. The end.
Grindelwald says to Ezra Miller, we're going to go down in history. Well, apparently not, because you weren't mentioned in the first 8 movies, so maybe a very obscure part of history.
Different history. It's going to be in the remastered editions of the books.
Oh, God. They're going to put Hayden Christensen into some of the scenes.
The end.
Well, that was it for the Crimes of Cumberbatch. I feel like these movies don't have a good structure or sense of what they are. Because the thing about the Harry Potter novels, fantasy isn't necessarily a story. It's more a setting. Right. A fantasy novel refers to the fact that this is going to be a fantasy world with magic and, strange creatures and a world that doesn't really exist. And in that, you could tell a heist story, or you could tell an epic journey, which is, what most people do. There are expectations and tropes, but, you need like a secondary genre for your story. The original 7 Harry Potter books are mysteries. They're mysteries and treasure hunts.
Yeah.
The last book is a big treasure hunt, and it's all about introducing an element, getting people guessing, and you get to explore a crazy world, a magic castle. You get to look into all the little crevices and figure out what is it that's going on. Who is the prisoner of Azkaban exactly? Where is the Chamber of Secrets? Am I the Half-Blood Prince? Better read and find out. It's mysteries, and that's the structure. And you can have character moments, and you can have crazy little interactions with the world, all based around the structure. I mean, the 4th one's also a sports book,
Best one
kind
for
of.
that reason.
And there's a heist in the 7th one, so there's stuff going on. This one, what would you describe... If there was no magical elements in this, what's the genre? Political intrigue?
Yeah, I guess so. They've gone the Phantom Menace route, haven't they?
This is not a satisfactory subgenre for your thing to be. There are far too many characters and storylines.
Oh, for God's sake, yeah.
It's really hard to care about anything like... and pick any one of them. Like Nagini and Credence.
Yeah.
Their screen time is like 4 minutes before the big climax where we're suddenly meant to care deeply about what happens to them and who they are.
I was just about on board with Newt. And every time it cut away from him, it's really testing patience. It's a flashback. It's like reading, italicized dream passages in novels. My brain finds it hard to figure out why this is important when I should be focusing on the main character and his relationships.
I mean, this whole thing feels like reading through the appendices.
And on a character level, it doesn't work. If you're going to do a film about political intrigue, why is it tied up with the Fantastic Beasts knockoff book?
That element of it reminds me of The Hobbit. It's like, we need to adapt something that people are familiar with that's going to get them in. Oh, well, you've got The Hobbit. That's, same universe as Lord of the Rings. Okay, that's fine. We can adapt The Hobbit, but it has to be as epic as The Lord of the Rings. It has to be as world-changing and as big. Otherwise, people will think it's just trivial. And that's how you ruin The Hobbit. And it seems like the same thing here. It's like, I mean, I know that we both have issues with CGI monsters, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
And a film about a guy who knows how to charm monsters, fantastic ones, fantastic beasts, who do crazy things like maybe blending into an environment, or I mean, this was the nub of the first movie. It was lots of crazy little encounters, little set pieces where Newt would go around trying to retrieve his fantastic beasts.
Yeah.
And I guess if you want to make a follow-up, just try and figure out another nature-based one. How about Free Willy? How about there's a big magical creature and you've got to get it free from captivity.
Yeah.
So you figure out a way of doing that. This overarching, massive, loads of characters, political intrigue thing is just so out of place. And the consequences, Newt, you really have to try hard to find reasons for him to be invested.
Yeah.
And I know Grindelwald's going to be bad news for everyone, but him personally, a guy who, prefers the company of animals to... I mean, he's very kind to people, generally.
Yeah.
But he prefers the company of animals and considers that people are just going to fight anyway. I think that's his politics, is that there's not much point in taking a side because both sides are probably wrong in some way, and, it's all just a bit pointless.
You can have this story about this guy, and because he's quite an interesting character, you can still make nuanced political points, have a strong message in there about, and channel it through him. And you don't it doesn't have to be so overt. It can just still be about this guy in this world doing this thing that he loves doing, and that would be way more relatable than just trying to. It's not well executed in any sense of the word.
No. Well, this Hobbit metaphor is just the aptness of it just grows by the second because he's Bilbo.
Yeah,
he is Bilbo. He's a pleasant character who should be at the heart of a charming little adventure, but has to take a back seat to the characters with the epic destinies and.
Yeah. It could be a microcosm for something really great. With it ending with him finally saying that he's picked his side and he's going to fight for good. Okay, fine in the context of this political intrigue story. One thing is that could have been the first 20 minutes, half an hour of one film instead of the second movie in a 5-movie franchise. You're trying to merge these two things that just do not go. Or they have completely different points to them, completely different focuses, and it's just franchise franchise garbage.
It really is. It feels like this whole film is just moving pieces around the board, getting them ready for the next film, and that's so dull. I mean, the Wizarding World is so wide, and there's so much vagary there, and so many places you could take a story. There's stuff you could do. It's just a shame that you didn't pick something specific, some adventure to go on. Instead, it's just such a bland story of just people being in one place, talking to each other without any real emotional weight behind it, and then moving on to the next thing.
Yeah, would it not be better then to have 5 separate films from different parts of the Wizarding World?
Yeah,
and it helps you just sort of form a better understanding of what the Wizarding World should be.
I feel like the first Fantastic Beasts would benefit so much from taking out all the stuff with Credence. I like the idea that he spends the whole movie hunting monsters, and then the last monster he has to hunt is a human. Yeah. Because he's awkward with humans. Yeah. But he knows monsters. Yeah. And so this is like a bridging point for him. That could have been the focus of the movie rather than, there's machinations.
Yeah.
Got to set up the next one.
Yeah, it's just a totally forced way of creating art. You can't go in like that. I know, we joked about not making plans and things like that, but if you don't know what it is you're going to be doing, forcing a 5-movie franchise is really hokey. And I think, people feel it.
It's weird because I came out of Avengers Endgame, no spoilers, just feeling like, I want to know what the next 10 movies are. Yeah. I want to know right now, where's this going? When's the next Avengers? What's going to happen next, guys? Come on, tell me. Make it not just rumors. I want to know for sure. Yeah. I can't think of any other franchise in the world I'd be happy to hear had 5 more installments in.
No.
If John Wick, which has its 3rd installment coming out this year, suddenly came out and said, hey, we're going to make 6 more movies about individual characters from John Wick, I'd still be like, oh.
I had a nightmare last night, actually, that they were making a John Wick 4. And I went, no, don't.
Let this thing be beautiful and let it die. Let it die young and beautiful.
That is as artistically impressive a decision as writing another good story, knowing when to end it.
It is. No, I love knowing that a thing's coming to an end. Yeah. I mean, here, I don't know. I just don't mind, Yeah. Eventually, they'll kill Grindelwald.
Yeah,
and that'll be it.
Yeah, you know what's going to happen as well. So
will Queenie be won back towards the good? I don't know.
I don't care because I didn't care about her character.
No,
I don't like her character, and I thought Johnny Depp was cartoonish, even though he was very reserved a lot of the time.
Cartoonish, but boring. That's the thing. He was a boring cartoon, like a Russian cartoon, like a Soviet
cartoon. Yeah.
About fiscal responsibility.
Worker and parasite. Worker and parasite.
What the hell was that?
It's that basically. Crimes of Grindelwald is worker and parasite. There's no fun there. There's no fun in life. They're the critics of the movie world.
Absolutely.
But I cared about Newt and Jacob. Yeah. For different reasons. Tina was okay.
I like Catherine Waterston. She's quite instinctive, and she has a really good sort of quiet charisma to her, which complements Newt's really well. You know what really bores me about this whole thing, and why I want to find out there's another 10 Marvels, is that there's no... And it's the same problem with DC had in its early days, where it's like, hey, we've got another film coming out. Great. Is this one directed by Zack Snyder? Yeah. Great. There's another one after that. Is it directed by Zack Snyder? Yes. Fantastic. It's like, you need a bit of variety here. Like that's nothing necessarily against Zack Snyder, but when you're setting up a universe like this, I don't enjoy the fact that there are 5 of these movies all credited to be written by J.K. Rowling and directed by David Yates.
Yeah, I really don't think that her strength is in scripts. Her process, her novel writing process, whatever it was, worked for her. Harry Potter is amazing.
Yeah.
It's an incredible story, really absorbing, immersive world, rich, full of lore, and built on the things that she loved that, made fantasy... that was fantasy before Harry Potter as well. And it's great for all those reasons. And it makes the films, for all of their flaws, really enjoyable to watch, and like a crazy easy rewatch of 8 movies. I can't stress that enough. And whatever that process was, she isn't employing for movies. And I guess there's part of there's a time issue. There's obviously deadlines, and she's like working a lot faster.
It just doesn't feel like there's much love behind it. And I felt like there was a great deal of love and affection behind Harry Potter, and it's hard to believe that Rowling has the same sort of affection for her characters here, because it's just not communicating outwards. Except maybe Newt. And I feel like...
Maybe Newt,
it would be braver, it would be really good if, in future, maybe the 3rd one could be about Newt Scamander. Scouring thing.
Newt Scowler.
What's the word, Chad? Newt Scowler. That would be lovely. But for now, we've got the Crimes of Grindelwald. Let's quickfire about it. Quickfire. Oh, I like the production logo at the beginning, actually. The long, slow, menacing zoom into the Warner Brothers. Whenever Warner Brothers comes up, it's like, oh, am I watching a Nolan film? Oh, no, I'm not.
Dumbledore was by far my favourite character in this film. And
he was great.
His scene in Hogwarts was my favourite scene.
What were the 3 biggest mistakes that you made last time?
Caught by surprise, sir.
What else?
Didn't parry before counter curse, sir.
Very good. The last one. The most important one. Not learning from the first 2.
That was full of the magic. You could tell that maybe J.K. Rowling is familiar with that, and it was full of what I loved about the original series. And I like Jude Law. I was really sceptical when I heard that he was cast as Dumbledore, but I really like what he brought to the role.
Oh, I like the force field around Grindelwald at the beginning when the fly flies up to him and then just puffs into fire because it flew into the force field that's around him. It's going to melt anything that goes into it. And just coming off from that, when they're transporting him through the prison, it's quite dynamic.
Yeah.
He's in this weird sort of shot with his hands behind his back, and he's just floating really effortlessly and quite quickly up these stairs whilst the camera zooms past the other way. That's quite a cool shot.
Yeah, I will say about Depp that he comports himself well, I think.
I got so much more out of him in that first scene where he was dishevelled and long-haired and looking rough than any other point in the film.
Same as, is it Whitey Bulger in Black Mass?
He knows how to carry himself.
I really like the design of the British Ministry of Magic. Okay. When the camera pans below ground just after the the I thought it looked really good.
Oh, cool.
It was huge.
Huge. Similar moment when he's just met with Zoe Kravitz. I can't remember her character name.
Is it Letta Lestrange?
Oh, yeah, it's Letta. We get a nice POV shot from Newt looking directly at Letta, which is unusual. And then we see the brother approaching in the distance, and his view sort of shifts to the brother.
Yeah.
It was quite a good kind of POV shot because it sort of articulates the frustration of, I want to be talking to this person, but oh no, something's rushing up into my view. And oh look, it's the person who's kind of an obstacle between me and Letta.
Worth saying at this point, Eddie Redmayne generally hit and miss for me, but I thought he was pretty good in this. I liked it.
Yeah. There's something very charismatic and engaging about that performance where you do just kind of want to see more.
Yeah, there's a lot underneath there, and I think there's a lot there are depths to plumb, and I really hope that Crimes of Grindelwald focuses on that for a bit.
There were depths to plumb, but unfortunately they didn't bother with any of them because there was a depth to plumb.
God, I saw that one coming.
That took a while.
It made it no less great.
It's like getting run over by a great bus.
A great long bus. I really like when Newt goes into talk to the ministry people when they say,
You want an end to the ban on you travelling internationally. Why?
Because I like to travel internationally.
It's a really cool exchange.
Yeah, it's fun, the idea of this sort of very quietly subversive character being questioned by authority and only for them to be frustrated. It's like the idea of Gandalf undertaking police custody.
Oh, we hate this, Sarge.
What were you doing at the location? Well, things always tend to be where they are, don't you find? I hate this. I hate this. I hate him. All of this. Why is he here even?
Why is he in Walthamstow? Gary.
He stole 4 bookmarks. Went for something better than that. I wanted something really lame, like the worst thing for Gandalf to be stealing, and I arrived at bookmarks.
I just love the idea of him being in a Waterstones and furtively looking around, just, completely standing out as a wizard, and then just really badly, clumsily trying to slip 4 bookmarks, really cheap ones as well, into his robes. No! Oh, brotherly chemistry I thought was pretty good in this. I really felt their scenes together. When he's talking about choosing sides and he's kind of jabbing him with his thumb. And then when they're fighting off Grindelwald's magic together. They were good together.
They were. I assume you read the piece of trivia that they apparently grew up like a street away from each other. Oh yeah, they did. The 2 actors. But in Chelsea.
Oh, what? I don't like him anymore.
Yeah, I know. No, nor do I. Check your privilege. Also, I've written some lovely shots of Paris, but I honestly can't think of what those are now. Because the wizarding Paris was really underwhelming.
CGI.
Well, it was CGI, but also just looked like Paris. There were points where they were in it, and I was like, oh wait, is that what... Because Muggles aren't seeing these huge black curtains going up over everything, so is this all wizarding Paris? Could have been indicated a bit better.
Don't think about that.
Weird. Think about that, mate.
Think about this. When I think it was a ministry guy who was trailing Newt.
That's exactly the one I just saw.
Oh, cool, yeah. He casts a spell that unleashes a gale force wind only on this guy. And so he's got his umbrella out and trying to protect himself against it. And he's getting pushed down this street very, very slowly whilst everybody else is walking past completely normal, looking at him and going, he's a lunatic. It's really well shot scene.
It is, and he's got a great sort of old-fashioned Fred Astaire physicality, the guy getting blown. He's got like his legs out straight, and he's just like, whoa, whoa. Oh, that eye parasite was awful. That was not fun. That was not pleasant at all. There's a bit we missed out. I can't even remember what the significance... Oh, it's the reason the guy collapsed, the jailer.
Yeah.
He spent some time in the sewer, and whilst he was down there, he got a dragon parasite stuck in his eye, and they had to tweezer it out, and it was awful.
Yeah, it was awful, mate.
Awful. But yet another scene of Newt just being sort of calmly competent and having no sentimentality about, tweezering something out of a guy's eye.
Yeah. I will say he was very charmingly competent throughout this movie. There are just lovely, wonderful, quietly charming, quietly courageous bits, like when he's rolling up his sleeves to get in the pool with that seaweed monster thing. Yeah. He has no qualms whatsoever in dealing with these monsters.
Yeah.
And there's a confidence there that's really infectious and really wonderful to watch. I still like Jacob Kowalski, Dan Fogler. He was my favourite thing in the first movie. And I really love him in this. He's good. For the most part, really natural performance.
Yeah.
Very effective comedic relief. Especially when not comedic relief, but when they're walking along the White Cliffs of Dover and he's trying to reassure Newt before he meets Tina again.
Yeah.
It was just such a natural, personable performance. It was a really, really nice one.
Yeah, he's really good. And he fulfills a very important function, actually, which isn't nearly in enough of the sequences, which is that he's the guy who's still amazed by all the magic. Because
which is what you need.
Yeah, you need that, because if no one is that plussed about impressed by the magic, then it's just not magic. I know audience surrogacy may seem like a bit of a silly thing, but it's real. You need someone to be in the movie going, holy crap, look at all this, it's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
And that, otherwise it's not amazing.
Yeah, he's a really good fence for it.
You need Ariadne looking up in wonder at the city folding in half.
Yeah, exactly.
He's talking about how he went to go see a fortune teller in his life, and he mentions, she told my fortune. She missed out quite a bit, actually. It's like the idea that the fortune teller would have foresaw all of the things that have happened to him in the last two movies was quite funny.
When they're walking along the White Cliffs of Dover, and he goes,
Hey. It's gonna be all right. We're in this together, pal. Okay, I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna help you find Tina, find Queenie, and we'll be happy again, just like old times. Who is this guy?
It's delivered in the exact same way when they meet that crusty farmer type.
Yeah.
Then when he's finally uncharmed, when he's had the charm removed, and he goes, "Wait, where are we right now?" London. I always wanted to go here! And then he storms out. That's his first great line in the movie.
Oh, I really like, there's a bit, having used the weird cat dragon thing to escape from the ministry, they've got it in a park and they're trying to subdue it again. And earlier on we saw Eddie Redmayne do it with a sort of furry thing on a stick. And I really enjoyed that the second time around it's Catherine Waterston with the furry thing on a stick. And she's got this great sort of nervous face about her as she's trying to reassure this big cat thing. I really enjoyed.
When the half-elf, when her place is destroyed, it looked really cool. There's inky magical destruction all about the air.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, very, very cool effect. Not even going to get into the half-elf. Where's she from?
Well, somebody did, clearly.
Dad's at home, yeah. Look, everyone gives Rowling stick for not being representative in these movies. There's a transgressive character somewhere there.
Somewhere in the Crimes of Grindelwald. In this half-elf's past. Oh my god. Or perhaps it's a sort of Handmaid's Tale situation there with the help.
Yeah, that's dark.
That is dark. Sorry about that, everyone.
Could have been good in the kids' film. Kids need to know.
You've got to know. Come on, watch The Handmaid's Tale. Ask your parents.
Alfie, ask your dad. Alfie, ask my dad.
There's a bit where, the hour is about to go in.
Yeah.
And the brother says, hold your fire. Don't start killing people immediately. We mustn't be what he says we are.
Yes.
And I really like that line. And I like the idea of it that, hey, there's so many things that's applicable to. Like, don't get so angry at the thing that you hate that you become the thing that they say that you are.
Yeah.
And that seemed quite big to me.
At its heart, I will say that it's a really quite sophisticated warning to people against elitism, driving people to populism.
I do like the little subtle implications that the good side isn't that good. They still discriminate against muggles and... I mean, ultimately, kind of. There's a kind of a Wakanda situation going on. Maybe the wizards should maybe not take over the world, but at the very least stop hiding.
Yeah.
They could probably help us in our world, which is dying. What are you doing about climate change, Harry?
When we have the flashback, a couple of things I really liked. I really like young Newt and Lestrange, especially young Newt. The boy does a very good Eddie Redmayne impression.
They only nest in trees with one quality wood. Did you know that? And they have very complex social lives. If you watch them for long enough, you realise.
Then when Lestrange gets in trouble for Agent Smithing someone's mouth shut, McGonagall comes on the scene, impossibly, and says, and she unzips the girl's mouth, and as soon as the girl starts to tattle, she just goes, bam, back to Agent Smith, melty mouth.
Yeah.
No talking from you.
So I really like the mole thing that he's got, the sort of pickpocket.
Yeah.
There's a scene where it's tracing the footsteps.
Yeah.
And the way it's pushing itself around is with its front arms flat against the ground and his face flat against the ground and his back legs pushing him. There's something quite cartoonishly enjoyable about that.
Yeah, I think he was my favourite Fantastic Beast, that little platypus.
Yeah.
I really like the concept of Nicola Flamel, who is immortal but uselessly frail. Thousands and thousands of years old, but just totally useless.
Yeah. I'll just say finally, I really like the design of the weird dragon cat kitty thing. It was really good. He got a great frightening looking face. That big cat face thing was kind of unnerving on a giant body.
His jumping through dimensions looked pretty cool. Finally, the way when Newt's describing Tina's eyes with his crumpled bit of newspaper was ridiculously cute. It was pretty heartbreakingly sweet.
And I guess finally, the scenes where they do actually return to Hogwarts are really special. It's a lovely location, very iconic. And it's just nice to see characters interacting with kids. It just feels like what this should be.
Yeah.
You know, just the child's sense of wonder.
Yeah, it was the heart of the original movies and book, and largely what was missing from the rest of this movie, I think.
It is, and I think unfortunately we are bumping up against the limitations of the Wizarding World.
Yeah, take a step back and think of a better thing to do. There are going to be loads of interesting stories in there, but maybe more personal stories.
I think just open the door to some more storytellers.
Yeah.
Get some more people in here, different writers of different,
you
know, maybe some different backgrounds. A bit of diversity in the creative process might actually fix some of these problems.
Yeah, there we go.
People are complaining about.
There we go. Maybe, instead of just tweeting that this character had a passionately homosexual relationship in the past, or that actually this person is gay or whatever, just write stories that are about other people. You know, just do it. Be representative. Proactively, sorry.
I think so. It's kind of having your cake and eating it as well by saying that there's a gay character, but not actually indicating that in the film, because then anyone who doesn't want to believe that is just like, oh, well, that's the author. What do they know?
Yeah, coming from somebody who isn't seeking representation.
Well,
it's just poor practice to go retconning your stories like that. It makes you dangerously close to George Lucas.
Okay, how about that OGT?
Well, I sent a few owls out to the OGT team, OGT team, OGT team, it's the OG team. Grace Calabretto says, it was exactly what I expected it to be, a setup movie packed with filler and not much else. It's a shame we didn't see more of the creatures this time. What we did see of them was super cool. I'm also a mythical creature nerd, though, so very much a soft spot and the only enjoyable parts, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's some fun creatures. I mean, the fun creatures are so much more interesting than the supposedly magical locations.
Yeah.
I'm more of an architecture and sort of, I like big fantasy cities and such, and there's just nothing for me in this in that respect.
Aussie Nerd says, Dumbledore is sexy now and the acting is good. I just wish it didn't have a trash script and they wore bleeping robes. Come on, Aussie Nerd. We didn't ask you to submit anything for a family-friendly episode, and suddenly you're not submitting us stuff for a family-friendly episode. It's ridiculous.
But yeah, that's the point. They don't wear robes. Everyone's in suits. Weird.
If they didn't do the Jedi thing and just make them all part of one school. That's something.
Yeah, it's school uniform, the robes. Outside.
Fashions change as well.
Yeah, especially in the Wizarding World. You can get a tie that's alive. This ring, probably a bit of the soul of a dead wizard or something.
Or something.
Or
definitely something.
Pretty much everything in my room is at some piece of a dead wizard, so I really feel like that if you're relying on hiding bits of your soul around the place, that you're just, you're not taking risks, are you? You're kind of, basically I think it's a bit of a Horcrux.
It's been 2 years, Paul, and it's never been hard, It's never been...
Never been this hard.
It's never not been a joy. I just want to say that. Well done, by the way. It's very good. Well
Thank
done.
you.
Thanks, OG team. Stop it.
Thanks, OG to the team. To the team. It's a different franchise now. OG team.
But a good one.
A better one, but with some disappointing installments.
All very valuable stuff, all being kept in the podcast.
All being kept in the podcast I co-host with you. I didn't think of a one better thing. The one better thing.
The obvious one would be Harry Potter's films 1 through 8. As we said before, for all their flaws, it's exactly what's missing from Crimes of Grindelwald. You've got a great cast, again, for all their flaws. You've got a well-established world. Harry Potter is a franchise where Rowling told a really amazing story, and that comes through in the movies. Great who's who of British cinema. Enjoyable and with a clear purpose. There's a ticking clock from the very first moment of the first movie, and that is something that is absent from Crimes of Grindelwald. So go back and rewatch them, I assume, because literally no one has not seen them at this stage.
You know what? I wonder if that's actually any good.
What I just said.
Probably not. I'm trying to look at movies about wizards. I remember being quite entertained by Oz the Great and Powerful, the Sam Raimi film.
Okay.
I remember it had some awkward moments, and the comedy didn't always land. I remember it had Zach Braff as the monkey.
Okay.
But I remember finding James Franco fairly charming in it, and Michelle Williams was great, obviously, as the Good Witch. And then you had Rachel Weisz. I don't remember that, but she was playing, I guess, one of the Wicked Witches, along with Mila Kunis, and that was bad casting. I remember Mila Kunis didn't work very well. I like Mila Kunis, but she didn't work terribly well as the witch who becomes the proper evil witch. But it's Sam Raimi, so it has some really interesting, weird moments of direction, and I just remember finding it very charming. The little China girl and such, and the various locations they visit. So I think that was better than the Crimes of Grindelwald. I recommend checking it out. It's at the very least more interesting and slightly more adventurous in the story it's trying to tell. That was the one better thing. That was the one probably better thing. The one probably better thing. Where can everyone find out about the OG Us?
We put all the calls out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you want to be a part of the OG too, or if you just want to engage in a bit of sexy or platonic chit-chat, we're literally game for anything. Nothing incriminating, and that's a guarantee. Gmail, you can send us an email at ogtpod@gmail.com. You can find our podcasts and all good content contained within, such as this, and this, and this, iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe, review, and spread the word. Finally, we're also proud members of the A Lot of Green network. Find us and other great Australian content at alotofgreen.com.au. Keep gripping on to that slippery slope of a pole that is the 2018 box office best, because there's going to be some good ones coming.
We're going to find out about all the films that you, the public, went to go see. Tune in next week for another one of those. Thanks. I'm Paul Salt.
I'm Paul Goodman.
And remember, the one good thing about Fantastic Beasts, the Rhymes of Ribald, is that little moment where you remember just how magic the whole thing used to be.